Hello everybody, this is Crackcore. Now this is part 2 of the getting what you want out of life and what you've got to sacrifice to get it. I can't remember specifically what the title of the last video was, but this is part 2 anyway. So anyway, we're on the fly here, and I just decided I'm going to add a part 2 to it. Because in the last video I was saying that everything requires a sacrifice, to get it what it is that you want. Now obviously that's a given, anybody should know that, but there comes a point where you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Because not everything in life is worth the sacrifice. I mean, at the end of the day, that woman that went jogging past me in the last video, the woman who was ripped, she was ripped, torn, she was peeled, whatever you want to fucking say it, she was absolutely fucking ripped to shreds. And, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? That woman quite clearly sees the cost of what it is that she's had to pay, in her life as, a relevant thing. She sees it as worthy, to be able to, I suppose, get the reaction that she got from me, which was me driving past like, fucking hell. Maybe that's what she wants in life. Perhaps that's what it's all worth to her. Now, ultimately, I touched on the fact that whatever decision you make, whatever sacrifice you make, does, impede on other people's lives too. If you're in a long-term relationship with a partner, this will, have an effect on everybody else's life. So what you have to do is ask yourself, is this a worthy cost at the end of the day? Because there is an awful lot in life that we want, that we go for, and we can end up sad and lonely. Because, in the end, when we've got what it is that we want, you can lay on your deathbed and think, well, I've got this, and this, X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C, however you want to call it. And was it all worth it? So if your pursuit is physical wealth, let's just say, you see people in business and they sacrifice an awful lot. They might sacrifice personal relationships. They might sacrifice other people's happiness and security for their own benefit and personal gain. People say that in business, you have to be, like a shark. Willing to just fucking eat anything in order to survive. Cutthroat, without conscience. Although I beg to differ with regards to sharks. They're probably nicer creatures than what humans give them credence for. But anyway, we won't go off on another fucking tangent here. My thoughts on how sharks might be. Although we're already starting, aren't we? We're already going off point. But they say that you have to be, without conscience and stuff. Well, I don't know. You can say that if you like, but you probably just have to be willing to sacrifice more for your own, whatever. And perhaps what it is that you are pursuing plays a part in how or what it is you have to sacrifice to get it, Because let's look at it from a different perspective here. Such is life. Life is just perspective here. So, let's just say that you want happiness. You want more happiness in your life. You want less stress. So perhaps, let's face it, the thing that you have to sacrifice to get more happiness and less stress is the things that stress you out and the things that make you unhappy. So therefore, the price for happiness is actually not all that much, It's not that bad, is it? You've just got to cut out that which makes you unhappy. It might be difficult because let's just say you are, let's pick an easy one. Relationships are always an easy analogy. So let's just say you're in a relationship that's making you unhappy. What are you going to do? Well, you've got to cut that out of your life in order to be happy. Now, that will be difficult. You know, it will make you sad because people have dependencies and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, attend it there. You will have to, you know, make some sacrifices to your own self, I suppose, to begin with, which will be your own happiness, because it will make you miserable, because other people in these situations have a tendency, you know, to project and to make you feel like you're the one to blame because you're the one who's leaving and putting your own happiness first. But ultimately down the line, you know, you will be better off for it. So ultimately the sacrifice, I suppose, may have felt great at the time, but, you know, perhaps it's not all that great in the long run. You know, it's not all that big, because all you're literally doing is making yourself feel a little bit stressed out for a little bit, you know, for the greater good of yourself. Now, in my opinion, we have to go through these experiences in order to grow anyway, personally. You know, so the sacrifice for yourself in this instance is relatively small, because you know, it's for yourself, and you're ultimately going to learn from it. So ultimately, it's a good thing down the line. So it's not really a sacrifice at all. But yet, when you look at how you make decisions based on, say, for instance, selfish things. Well, what's selfish? I mean, it's just a perspective, right? So, I mean, what's selfish to one person? I mean, we're getting deep now. It might not be selfish to another person. Acceptance is key, I think. But anyway, let's just say, for instance, you know, you do want to become a success in business, and that means you're going to have to cut other people's throats in order to get there. Well, that is going to affect other people. And then you have to throw into the mixture, you know, what is karma, and how that could affect, you know, in the long run. Because if you are having to step on other people to get where you want, if the sacrifice starts to include other people, which I suppose ultimately everything will eventually, so what the fuck are we going on about here? I mean, I think the point is, everything is going to have an effect on yourself and other people. You just have to weigh it up, I suppose, and ask if the price is worthy. You know, whether it's worthy to you, and, you know, whether the effect it will have on other people is a worthy cause. But ultimately, you have to weigh that up on a different set of scales, which is it affecting other people because of their own personal either agendas towards you, their own egotistical fucking projection of themselves, and how they perceive themselves, and how they feel as though because of that perception they ought to be treated by everybody, including yourself. You know, you have to weigh all of these things up and then ask the question, am I, you know, making this decision based on all of the factors being positive, you know, and for the right reasons? Because if you're making a decision for the right reasons, because let's face it, intent is 9/10 of the fucking battle here. You know, if you're making the decision based on positive intentions, then sometimes, you know, and you've weighed it all up and you've said, well, okay, this person's not going to be happy about my decision, but realistically, that's because of their own fucking egotistical desire to, you know, be treated a certain way and to have somebody pandering over their every fucking needs and wants, you know, at the expense of my own personal happiness, and etc., etc. Well, then you have to say to yourself, well, maybe, you know, it's not really a bad price to pay, because then that's their lesson to learn also, you know, by this whole experience. So, you know, there's lots to think about here, and these videos sometimes become, you know, just a bit of a verbal diarrhea session like this one, but I think it throws out certain questions and you know, just things to think about with regards to our interpersonal relations with other people and also with ourselves. Because I think by accepting that we are ourselves, but we're not singular in ourselves, we are many different versions of ourselves all at once, and we have to appease the desires of all of those things, all of those inner selves, as much as we possibly can, and try and integrate those, even the negative, well, the ones that are seen as negative, into ourselves, in order so for us to kind of, I mean, this is where it starts to get a little bit beyond me, but I'm going to try and make sense of it here in the moment. If we can try and integrate everything of ourselves, even the negative aspects, then perhaps that's about not becoming a reactionary human being. Because if you suppress certain aspects of yourself, they're still there regardless. It's just that you are ignoring them, which means you have less control over how they react and how they act in the moment with regards to any given situation. I feel as though that's probably the best way of putting it. Because if you are very full aware of who you are and all of these aspects of your own character, and you get to know these aspects of yourself, well, then you are better equipped, aren't you, in the moment to recognize that which it is that is causing a certain reaction in a situation. Therefore, you are able to, deal with it in a better way, in a more educated and well-rounded and conscious, I think is the right fucking way to say it, the right conscious way of dealing with something. Because let's face it, is that not the best way to deal with anything? Consciously. And I mean consciously in every single aspect of the word here. I'm talking about consciously with regards to, the mind-body-soul complex, the mind-body-spirit vibe. And on that note, I'm going to end, because I feel that that's a good place to end. But look, realistically, as I bash my hand against the fucking car there, but realistically, who fucking put that there? I mean, how long's it been there? Anyway, I think we just have to accept that no matter what we want in life, it's going to cost us something, it's going to cost other people something. We just have to think consciously and weigh everything up and see if, we can make the best decision all round. Because I think that's the only way, really, we can integrate as a society. And I think a lot of empathy comes into this, But also, let's not forget having empathy for yourself. All right? And on that note, I'm going to say love and peace to all things everywhere. It's a Crack Course signing off. Peace.